communities working together for climate. So we are just after opening up the grant. As you know, applications opened up last Tuesday. Walter's going to pop that application form link into the chat along with my contact details. So thanks very much for submitting your questions ahead of time. I'm going to try and cover as many of those as I can this afternoon, and anything that you think of afterwards, you're more than welcome to contact me through the email address in the chat afterwards. So I suppose it's a new grant. It hasn't been announced yet if there will be a second iteration next year of the grant, but we're hopeful that there will be. So it's 100% funding. And that's always really attractive in a grant. So we do expect to get quite a lot of applications in, which is really exciting. We it's 100% funding, as I said. So it's for applications between 1,000 and 25,000 euro. And I suppose its focus is on community-led environmental projects, locally run, based within the community. And that's why we're choosing to focus entirely on the lead applicant being a Tidy Towns group or a similar group, like a residents association or an eco group. So those groups will be the lead applicant, and they'll be working with another local community group, such as a men's shed or a school, a youth group, a sports club, on a project that has a clear environmental ethos. So that can be from anything really from enhancing biodiversity, reducing waste, improving green spaces, promoting sustainability. So it's quite a broad reach, and we're deliberately keeping it broad to see what kind of applications might come in. We're not favouring one over the other, and I'll go through the criteria for assessing the applications in a little while. So as I said, it's largely tidy towns and voluntary groups that we're focusing on. But any other group who has a similar undertaking is more than welcome to apply. There aren't that many caveats associated with applications. The only ones really being that you need to be registered with the PPN to apply, and that you would work with other groups in the locality to carry out the project. And we're not limiting the number of groups that you'd like to work with. If you want to work with an entire town, please do apply and include as many as you can. The projects can be big or small. There's quite a difference between 1,000 euro and 25,000. So we would welcome all sizes of applications. Applications close at the end of July on the 24th. So it gives you a few weeks still to work on your application. The application form, if any of you have already visited the website, is really simple. We've deliberately kept it simple to encourage as many applications as possible. We are aware that the application deadline is quite short, as is the period of time to undertake the works. So any project with a focus on local climate action, biodiversity, or environmental enhancement of almost any kind can be included in it. Whether it's creating a pollinator space in your local green area, if you'd like to plant up some trees and green a local community, run a repair workshop or a reuse initiative. And I suppose it's a great grant because it can cover both capital works or education and awareness activities. We're really not ruling anything out for this year's grant. So, for example,
Oh,
a
yeah.
local tidy,
Sorry,
yeah.
Ellie. The slides on your screen aren't moving for some
Oh,
reason.
aren't they?
Nikki pointed it out there. Yeah,
Thanks very much for letting me know. I
there you
might
go. Yeah,
just, are they moving along now?
that's moving now. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I can't tell from this end, so it's always really good to get the heads
Yeah,
up.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so for example, a Tidy Towns group might decide to work with a local school and a men's shed to um, build, I don't know, something like bird boxes or composting units, and to put them in place around the school and the local environment. Then that would help to get as many people as involved as possible within the community in an environmental project. So as I say, we're not ruling anything out. So if you have an idea and you're just wondering how it might work within this grant, feel free to get in touch and we can have a chat about it. We've had several queries to date, so we're happy to do that for any group. We
Hey,
will be.
Ella, so sorry for the
Yes,
question, but with the projects, like one of the things that we were asked is, does it need to be a public space? For example, we are looking to do something with a school, so it's not public to everybody, but it's public to obviously all the school children.
I, I suppose if possible, that there would be a community element in it so that it wouldn't be limited to just the school, but I suppose if you were to involve another group in it, that would help to involve others. And that can be like the parents' committee, for example. But it would just be because it would be inside in the school grounds that the rest of the community can also experience and learn from that as well.
Got it,
Um,
thanks.
and I know it can be tricky when you're inviting public into the schools. So, like having an open day when it's a limited access, or maybe you would include a focus on the project in your local newsletter or social media, for example. And that can encourage others to replicate what you've tried out in the school without, I suppose, bringing people onto school grounds in a very open way. So all applications will be evaluated in the same way. So we'll have 4 people looking at all the applications, and we'll look at the relevance to climate action or environmental enhancement goals. 40% of marks goes to that. Then 20% of the marks goes to the project's engagement and impact on the community, 20% for feasibility and sustainability, and 20% for innovation and creativity. We're not looking for everybody to reinvent the wheel, but maybe a slightly different slant on something that's already been a successful project. So, as I said, that we are aware that the grant timeline is quite short. So, just to go through, we're putting in the call for applications now, and applications are open online until the 24th of July. We will be assessing applications at the beginning of August and letting applicants know whether they've been successful or not. In the event that you're successful, 60% of the grant is paid out upfront and 40% on completion. So I suppose really you're looking to implement your project between September and the beginning of November. And you might need to bear that in mind when you're looking at what project you might like to apply for. So you're looking to carry out the project on the ground and have receipts by the 6th of November, when we're looking for the brief completion report to be submitted. And because the timeline is quite short, we're keeping it a very, very simple process this year. So it's an activity summary more than anything, with before and after photographs and receipts. If you can include a few comments from the community, we'll be using those in the event that the grant can go ahead next year to showcase what was done in 2026. So I suppose we're dependent on IPB Insurance agreeing to co-fund it next year. And we really can't announce if it will be going ahead next year until they can confirm that. But they seem to be quite keen on it. So once that completion report is received in November, we can then pay out the final 40%. So just to go through an example of the different types of projects that you might like to look at doing within that 3-month time period. So for the enhancing biodiversity category, we're looking for practical, on-the-ground, community-led initiatives that can increase local biodiversity and habitats. So really anything from carrying out surveys of what's in the area to help to create a local biodiversity action plan, planting pollinator-friendly native hedgerows or trees. I suppose you're looking to enhance the species that are already there through pollinator habitats or wildlife habitats. So if that's something as simple as making and installing bird or bat boxes, if you've species in the area that would benefit from that, or if you'd like to host a walk or an awareness raising event, we can fund that. I would direct people to the Biodiversity Action website and pollinators.ie when you're looking at any kind of planting scheme. There's a very good community guidance document on their website that it's pollinator.ie. Inside in that website there's a series of documents and guidance that are really self-explanatory, really. And there's one specific for developing community initiatives. It goes into very good detail on even the types of species that you might like to plant in different settings. So for our waste reduction initiative, we're looking for anything that will reduce waste and encourage reuse and repair in a community. So something like maybe setting up a tool library or a toy library, running repair, waste minimization workshops to give additional skills within a community. That might in turn lead to running repair cafes or workshops, anything that will help to reduce key waste issues like I suppose food waste is a key one. Textiles are also key ones. MyWaste.ie will give you a really good idea of the focus areas for waste reduction currently as well. So maybe a residents association might collaborate with a sports club or a school to set up reuse initiatives or repair workshops for some items that they find are commonly wasted because they can't currently be repaired. If you're looking to improve a green space in your community, I suppose simple projects that can be carried out within that 3-month period for transforming public spaces into maybe a more pollinator friendly or wildlife friendly space, or even just a welcoming space for your community. That might be as simple as planting trees to create a shaded space. The recent warm weather has really highlighted, I think, how our climate might change in the summer months. Trees can provide a really welcoming shaded space for a whole community to enjoy in the warmer weather. Equally, developing a rain garden or even rain planters might help to capture additional rainwater. If you've hardly any space, if you're in a very built up area, even creating pocket gardens, encouraging herb gardens within your community, or perhaps your community has a space for more vegetable growing areas. So in this category, Tidy Towns Committee might decide to work with, for example, a men's shed to build planters, work with a school to install those and plant them up. So I think this category certainly has lots of potential for collaboration as well with different sectors within the community. And I know that we've had some queries on this in terms of tree planting. We're really looking for native species or naturalized species, if possible at all, for tree planting. And I suppose even giving communities the skills on how to plant and care for trees, what to expect for them is a key one here. So if there's anything that I haven't touched on today, I'm really conscious that a lot of the queries that we were getting in were very project specific. So I know not everybody is happy to chat about that in a recorded event, but if you want to, we're opening it up to questions now. And if some group has any questions that they come across as you go through the application, you're more than welcome to get in touch afterwards as well. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and we might go back to the chat and see any questions that might have come in.
Yeah, so I think Jane had her hand up there. Jane, would you like to ask your question there?
Yeah, hi, Ella. I'm just wondering, it seems very, so I'm trying to understand the Tidy Towns lead focus on it. A lot of them are not quite what I have in mind is not doesn't really sit with the Tidy Towns. So would something like a local growers association, a community
No,
group that grows?
this year we're specifically looking for the applications to come from a Tidy Towns group or a local residents association. That type of group. So a growers association would need to find somebody to work with them in
Okay, and
order
have
to
you
apply.
details of Tidy Towns organizations in the area that we can get in contact with?
Yeah, we can put you in touch. Where are you currently based, Jane?
Waterford City.
Okay, so Waterford City doesn't currently have a Tidy Towns group, so you'll need to find the nearest residents association, for example, who might work with you on a project.
Okay. But there's no way of finding those out, is there? There's no central list for resident associations,
Well,
I
we
presume.
can give us a shout in the PPN, Jane, and we can send over a list maybe. Yeah,
Lovely. Great. Thank you.
no worries. Anyone else that was there? Grantstown Village Residents Association.
Yeah, thanks, Walter. Neil and Ricky here from the Grandstone Village Residents Association. Um, I suppose your question is, obviously we're in a residents association and we could be the lead partner in any application. Could we partner, for instance, with another residents association, or does it have to be a different type of group that we partner up with?
That's a really good question. Thanks. We're very happy for two to partner up together if that's what you're looking to do to expand the project. Yeah.
Thank you.
And there, Rosemary.
Hi everyone. Yeah, thanks very much for this. So we have I'm in Clonea Power and I'm in the Tidy Towns committee, so that's fine. And we're partnering up with Rathcormac in the next village. They have a fairly strong group going there. So we've been very fortunate. Last year we applied and got funding from the Community Foundation Ireland to do a biodiversity report. We've had an ecologist working in the local area for the last year. So that report is coming to an end. At the end, we should have it finalised by the end of this month, July. So we'll have a load of identifiable actions from the report. In the meantime, my daughter, who is doing her master's in Dublin, wanted to do her project on biodiversity. So she's coming in as well. So, and we have two other artists in our group. So we have just so many ideas between the biodiversity report and all of these different things going on. So my question is, like, can we have a number of different things that we want to do, or does it have to be one big thing? Like, just say for argument's sake, we were thinking about one of the smaller actions we were thinking about was getting a local welder to make very specific signs made from renewable metal, which we could gather from the local farms and stuff. We wanted it to be very identifiable, as in reusable metal from different other machinery or whatever, to identify wild plants in the area. but that's only one idea. Like there's about 20 ideas. So can we put in an application for a number of different actions?
You can, and particularly because they're coming from a survey that you've already had done
Yeah.
for the action plan. So
Yeah.
if you want to tie them in, what I would recommend is to cost them separately in the event that we aren't able to fund the full suite of
Yes. Yeah.
projects. We may be able to fund some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our actions will probably be around awareness raising and education. Like another action that we had, there was a lovely flyer that we did recently for the launch of our biodiversity plan. And it was very well received. So we just got about 100 copies made, but people were really anxious that maybe if we could get this replicated and distributed to every household in the 2 local communities. So look, it's just to pull back people and say, right, okay, we're only doing 3 things or 4 things or whatever, but they can cross over into a number of different areas. That's okay, is it?
It is,
Yeah,
yeah,
just
and
I get it about the costing and whatever, and we might be
yeah,
approved for 1 or 2 of them or whatever, depending on how your funding goes. Yeah.
exactly. And you can look at it as an opportunity to identify the first 3 things that you might do. You know,
I'll tell them that 3 things, right? Look, it's great to have such enthusiasm, and we've already
absolutely,
loads of stuff, and a lot of stuff is free. I mean, that's the thing about it, is just to get people to help us out. So some of the mostly everything is just stuff that we want to do, and there's no cost at all. Do you know what I mean? But obviously there is a cost, so that's fine. So we can apply for a number of different actions and
yes.
just rail them in a little bit on what we can do. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Next up
Rosemary.
there
Just to say, while I'm
yeah.
there, if anybody else was interested, we had the most positive experience with the Community Foundation Ireland and the getting the ecologists on board. It was absolutely transformative. So I would encourage any other group to pursue that application. They come out in September. So it was very useful for us.
That's good. Thanks, Rosemary. Next up there is Jeremy.
Thanks, Walter, and thanks, Ella, for the presentation. I work for a national charity, the Native Woodland Trust, and I'd obviously be wanting to apply on behalf of our Waterford branch, which is we're registered with the PPN. But my question is that firstly, is that okay, and is that okay if we use our national bank account for a fund like this? And the second question is. We would want to facilitate a number of workshops, conservation workshops and educational ones in the biodiversity realm on our reserve, which is open to the public in Waterford. But I was just wondering, for those 3 or 4 workshops, are staff costs covered? For instance, if I was to come down, I'm an ecologist, but I would run the workshop for a local scout group in Tremor. That's who our partner is. So just that question there regarding our national bank account. And whether my time would be covered if I did a number of creative workshops with a partner group in Waterford, the Scouts. Thanks.
So I suppose the applicant there would need to be the local group. So it would need to be their bank account that it was paid into. Yeah. And yeah. So it will need to be like a local tidy towns or a residents group that works with the scouting group, and like they're more than welcome to get you in to do the workshops, but it will need to come in that way, and the funding would go through them.
Okay,
so you would be a facilitator rather than an applicant.
Yes, yeah, that makes
that scenario.
That makes perfect sense, Ella. Thanks. It's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. I understand the criteria are quite strong, and what I would just say, if there's any groups on here who are in Waterford City, we have our nature reserve there. So if anyone's interested, I'll pop my email in the comments, and sure, it'd be lovely to do something either way. So thanks for that.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy. Next up there is Amy.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Ella, for the presentation. My query is I look after Coral and Oak, which is the Youth Council of Waterford, and we will be working with SETU. Is that a link that's viable?
I suppose it depends on the project in one sense, but we would look for there to be some kind of community group involved as well.
But we are the community group.
Okay. You're registered with the PPN as a
Yeah,
community
yeah.
group, okay,
Yeah.
rather than a youth organisation.
Yes, so we're within the youth organisation has different projects underneath the umbrella, and we're like a standalone registration on PPN as well.
Okay. And I suppose it depends on the project. If it's a planting project and it's on SCTU ground,
it's just further developing a tree planting site that started 5 years ago. So it's well established and sustainable and everything. So it's their land, but it's and it's working with the biodiversity centre and stuff with that. But it would be Coral and Oak and SETU would be the partners.
and the land is publicly accessible.
Yes.
Okay, so that could be applied for in that scenario. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Ella.
No problem.
Yeah, Muriel there. Give her hand up.
Hi, Ella. Thanks a million.
Hi, Muriel.
I'm just in relation to the I suppose just the tidy towns aspect of it's kind of centered at tidy towns and residents groups. Could it be community councils or does it? Does it? I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
If you've a tidy town, say in Waterford, and there is none in the city, to be honest. You're talking rural here. So if you have a tidy towns in Tramore or something, and you've all these groups wanting to pull on them because they're eligible to be the applicant.
So it's
how
tidy towns,
strict is it?
It's tidy towns or residents association or anyone with a similar ethos. So I can make the slides available afterwards. But even if you go on to the Waterford Council website and look at where the application is housed, there's an information document alongside that explains exactly what wording we're going to use. So it's anyone with a similar vision, I suppose, or ethos as a tidy towns or residents association. And that's because not every area will have a tidy towns group. So if your group has
an environmental cause,
if you're working on the same things as a tidy towns group, because some of them are town councils, for example, or they just have a different title, but they're doing the same thing as a tidy towns group might. They're just maybe not entering that competition every year. That's fine. They can apply for the funding. So I suppose it's a community group with a voluntary community group with the same ethos as a tidy towns group, I suppose.
Okay, and just one more question: if you were to do an application with 3 or 4 different groups, do they all have to be members of the PPN, or is it just the applicant?
Just the applicant needs to be.
Yeah, perfect.
And I suppose that allows schools to be involved as well.
That's what I was wondering, because they wouldn't automatically fall in under the full membership of schools and stuff. So that's perfect. Yeah, well done the presentation. As you said, it's a new grant, so I suppose it's kind of, we'll probably hopefully know a bit more next year. We'll be ready, more ready next year, and I presume it will keep coming anyway.
Hopefully, and we're quite lucky in that IPB Insurance have allowed us to run it and do the application form very simply. So we'll learn a lot this year as well. So like I say, I will make the slides available. I'm
Actually, sorry, Ella, I have one more question. I'm not sure if you covered it because I had to kind of take a call earlier on, but around insurance. If the applicant is not the tidy towns, or say they're doing with a tidy towns, but sorry, Walter, you have to mute there. Sorry for a bit of an echo. If they're doing planters or something and they're not in the tidy towns, or if they're in the other group, who does the insurance come under? Because it's the applicant of the tidy towns, but you're working with another group. If you know what it's probably a bad example. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is, if the tidy towns are making the application and the equipment or whatever is going in another facility, where does the insurance fall under there? So if they were doing with a school and there was something in the school, is and the applicant is the Tidy Towns or the community council, whoever, where does the insurance part lie with that?
For the insuring, say, the planter itself, is it?
Or we'll just say planters or equipment was
Yeah,
going into a school that's open to the public or whichever, but the applicant is the Tidy Town, but it's going into another facility or another area of ground that's not Tidy Towns, I suppose. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose they can acquire from IPB, but my understanding is that the school's insurance would then cover it if they're building something that will rest within the school
Okay, yeah.
for use by the school.
That's a bad example I gave, but I don't know if you know where I'm coming from. But if the applicant is one person or one group and the actual facility or
is in another,
isn't the Tidy Towns, because I suppose the Tidy Towns don't actually have, an actual
ground themselves.
ground, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And I suppose that's one of the reasons that the application asks that if it's on public ground that you've got the agreement of the local area engineer, because they will have considered that as well. But I suppose if a group is building something in, say, whether it's a school or a sports club, whoever property that sits on, that their insurance will generally cover it.
Yeah, that would be a straightforward one anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next up there. Sorry, next up we have Dermot there.
Yeah, just a quick question there. I just want, based on the presentation, and thanks for all the information, is it a case then that if it's targeting the likes of resident associations and tidy towns, would, say, a soccer club joining with a community group be eligible to apply for this grant?
The club themselves couldn't apply, but the community that they're working with could apply. They could submit the application and work with the sports club on the project.
Okay.
Does that answer it?
Yeah, it's just we were just considering, rather than moving towards an AstroTurf, we're looking at how actually to bring back a greenfield setup, which I think would fit in under the whole climate resilient project. But if you're saying so that we directly can't apply, but we'd have to partner with a community group who would be the main application, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dermot there, and Jane again there.
Sorry, yeah, I suppose I'm just a little bit confused after you answering a couple of those questions about the groups. Now, maybe I didn't make myself clear. So maybe my partners are the likes of the Wise Growers, Top of the City Garden, those kind of people. Would they not be the same ethos as a Tidy Town committee? Do you know what I'm saying?
I suppose they're in the sense that it's specific to one location. So you're more than welcome to apply if it's a collective of growing associations. The grounds will have to be publicly accessible, really, I suppose, like inclusive of the whole community. But if that's the case and you're registered in the PPN as one of those kind of groups, you can apply. Yeah.
Okay, and as you said with the school, the earlier question about school and limited availability. So, like I know, I would say Top of the City isn't open all year round every day. So would the same thing apply there, that you could do it through a newsletter or social media?
But the school would be applying with a residents association or a Tidy Towns group.
Yes, but the space wouldn't be available all day, every day for people to come in. So you said that they could do that in a different way. They could share the news in a different way and get the participation angle in there.
Yeah, that the Tidy Towns could work on it that way. Yeah.
So could we do a similar thing then?
And are any of the sites that you're talking about publicly accessible throughout the year?
I'm not sure about the Wise Gardens. I presume they are, that they're not. Yeah.
And
They
Top of
are.
the City
Brill,
are, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And Brill maybe. So I
Schools
just
wouldn't
don't know the
necessarily be.
details yet. I'm only at the start of talking to people. But I know the Top of the City would be limited.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if the overarching group that's applying for it is a community voluntary group, they can certainly apply. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, Geraldine Irwin here, Venner Tidy Town. Sorry, now I can't find the function for putting up my hand, so
No
I'm just
problem.
going to interrupt. I'm just going to interrupt. I put a question up there in the questions box. I have a bit of difficulty with the form. I've gone through it once, but in terms of saving it for submission later, is that technically possible on it? Yeah.
I don't think it is, Ger. Because it's such a
I
short
think
application, it hasn't got that function. But what I can do is send you a list of the questions so that you can have the information to hand to copy it into the document, if that would help.
yeah. Well, actually, I was a bit brazen. I just went through it and uploaded any sort of stuff into the boxes so that I could get through to the last box. Obviously, I didn't hit the submit button. Okay, so I have the format. Okay, and
Okay.
I have my project proposal ready to copy and paste into the relevant box. But when I tried to do that, I couldn't see the whole thing. You know the way you want to make sure what you put in is obviously effective and gets your message across, but the box didn't
Oh, you need to
enlarge for me to, yeah,
pull down the
sorry.
corners. Is that it, Ella? Some of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do a quick dummy run on one. No?
Yeah,
If
we can
possible. If
do.
Do a
not, I
little
can
quick
speak to you.
2-second,
you
2-minute dummy run on one, maybe.
Oh,
If we have time.
please. That would be great. Yeah.
If we have time. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Do you know
Thank
what?
you.
They're all so
Appreciate
good.
that.
It's taken years for everyone to kind of get around to using submit when
Yeah.
they're applying for applications and the grants. And I suppose they've kind of expected that you can kind of go back to it and whatever. But look, it is a very short form. And I suppose it's a case of just checking what's on it and what you need before you actually go ahead and put everything on it. So
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love the list of questions as well, Ella. That'd be great. It all helps, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Shall I send them to you, Walter, and you might just circulate them to anybody then who...
Yeah, we can put a document up on our website and people can get the link to it then, and I'll send it around to everybody then. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to try and open the form here and share my screen. So just bear with me now.
yeah, take your time.
Just while you're doing that, it's between 1,000 to 25,000, isn't that right?
That's right.
Great.
Yeah.
We love the money, you know.
Only you get
Someone
away
has
with saying that
asked
to
there.
me.
Someone's asked to think about. Hang on, I'm just going through the questions, see if I can answer any there while Ella's. No pressure, Ella. How many projects do you anticipate to fund in Waterford City and County? I presume it depends on it depends on the amount applied for, and I suppose those who are eligible. I suppose so.
Absolutely. Because it's the first year of the grant, we don't have a handle on how many applications we're going to get in or what volume of funding is going to be applied for. Walter, I think you might need to give me host permissions again.
Yeah, go Ella.
Can you see that application there?
Yeah, it's not full screen though, Ella.
Okay.
Not on mine anyway, but it could be. It could be just the form, so I'd say yeah. Work away, I'd say. I think everyone can see it.
Okay. So if I scroll down here, you'll see that it asks for these groups, community groups name, the type of group that you are. So that can be a registered Tidy Towns committee, a residents association, or a local environmental or biodiversity group. There is an option to put in other as well, and you'll be prompted to specify what type of group you are. And then we ask for your PPN number as well, just to clarify that you are eligible to apply. Then it's the usual contact details, your role in the group, the address, email, who you're collaborating with. So that will be the likes of a school or a sports club or another type of community group. So I might need to just fiddle around with this to let me into the next
Next step.
action. Yeah, exactly. So
Just a reminder that if anyone is looking for their PPN number, they are available on the website, on our website, the PPN website, on the funding page. And if you're not on there, you need to contact Walter. Most of you should have them from the last grant, but just to make sure that they're still valid.
okay. So your project title, and then the exact location. You can be as specific as you can be there, please. And then your proposal is limited to 500 word, between 500 and 1,500. So we're not looking for huge detail here, a sketchy outline of what you're proposing will do.
Sure, just to answer your question there. See there's a little thing on the corner in the box. If you pull that down, that's where you see all your information.
Yeah. So you can drag that down once you have that
Okay.
multi-direction
Okay.
arrow.
Yeah.
And it'll.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you're looking to save it as well, you can always screenshot it once you've expanded that box as far as it will go. And you can paste that into a document as well. Or you can request it to be emailed back to you if you can't find what you've submitted. So this start date is just to give us an indication of when you're going to have hope to have completed it. And that's really just so we can see that you're aware that it's a 3-month action period, I suppose. Sorry, now this will just let me ensure it goes on to the next one. So here's where I mentioned that if the project is on public land, that you have attached your email with approval to carry it out. And likewise, if it's on private land, that you've the landowner's permission. So, for example, if a group was looking to do a project with SETU, you would tick that and attach an email giving permission to use the land.
Hello, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. I was going to ask you where do you put them, but I can see that's next.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just you'll be prompted if you don't upload the file to upload the file. Now it may not let me do it without uploading something or other here.
Sorry, just to interrupt you there. How do we get permission from the council? Who do we seek permission from?
It would be the area engineer usually. So whoever's I suppose
I have no idea who that
General
is.
public wouldn't know that. I actually, to be
okay,
honest,
so
I wouldn't
you
know
can
myself.
contact me and I can give you the name of the relevant person. So I need to just put 500 words in here.
Thanks.
No problem at all. Just bear with me now. I'll find 500 words of text to slot in here.
Bella, are the area engineers aware that they could be overrun in the next few weeks?
They are, yeah.
Grand.
But they're also very used to working with community groups looking to do things like planting trees and that. So
great.
So this one moves you on. You can see on the top it shows you stages. So there's really only 4 stages to the application form. This one is your budget. So the estimated cost of your project. We would expect that you'd have at least gotten one price for this, and an itemized breakdown. So say, for example, trees are going to be €800, compost, and then the amount so if you're looking for 100% funding, just put the full cost in, or if you're putting money with it, you can reflect that there as well as here. There's no obligation to a group to contribute financially to it. So you can put 0 there if you're not in a position to do that. Here we're looking for quotes. So say you've got quotes, you can upload a maximum of 4 there.
Sorry, Ella, can I just ask you if you're anticipating some level of sponsorship for some aspect of the project, do you have to reflect the value of that there in that box?
Yeah, so you would reflect that there in this here, so where it says group financial contribution or matched funds. And what I would do, if it's a sponsorship element in it, I would put it in the sponsorship amount in the itemized budget breakdown then as well, just to be clear on it.
Ella, I see you could have potentially a bit of an issue there with the itemized budget breakdown. If you've only got one item and it's asking for 50 words or something there, is it?
You just give details about what it's going to be spent on.
Okay.
So, for example, you could say that your quotation is from, I don't know, Woodies or whatever, and it's going to be spent on X, Y, and Z. I suppose it's €1,000, so it'll cover a few things regardless of what it's being spent on. And then the declaration and sign off is just to certify that all the information is correct, and you're, I suppose, committing to their funds being spent only on what you've requested it to be, and that you'll submit the receipts to get the remaining 40% afterwards. So if you tick there and pop your signature in there, and we do ask for 2 signatories for it, and the role of each signatory, and you'll be able to click submit then. So I can sign that there with my mouse, and you'll be able to do the same. So what I would say is I would recommend that both signatories should be sitting down, and they'll each be able to sign it with the mouse then as well. And you can press submit and you're good to go. But I will send around the list of questions to Walter after this, and at least then you can have all the information ready to go when you're looking to fill out the application form. Does that make a little bit more sense?
Yes, yes, it does. Thank you very much. You know, the touch enables pen, is that the same thing as writing with your finger, or is it a different concept? Is it like when you go into I don't know, any sort of public body and you have the screen and they have a pen?
Yeah, so I was able to just do that with my mouse on the laptop, or if there's a little touchpad where you can move the arrow around the screen on a laptop, for example, that's what you can use to sign that document.
Right, I'll have to experiment with that. But yeah, anyway, if I get that, that'll be great.
I think you can do it on your phone as well, if you're doing it on a phone.
Yeah, I'm doing it on the laptop. Yeah.
So whatever you use to move the mouse around should sign that for you, or the arrow should do that.
Okay, yeah, great, thank you.
So we just have a couple of questions in the chat. And I see we've answered Rosemary's ones there.
One there from Nicola.
the most recent one there, is it?
Yeah,
No.
there are no tidy towns or residents associations in our rural community, but we're
Okay.
applying that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's no tidy towns in or residents association in a rural community, there'll be somewhere where you're looking to put the community garden. So as a community centre, I suppose generally where there's a community centre, there's some sort of community body behind it who's put it in place. They could apply, as long as it's a voluntary community group or group over the running of the centre. We would look at an application from them. I also see a message, somebody whose connection dropped a couple of times. Yeah, and just to clarify, a Scouts group should apply through another community voluntary group. Yeah. So say, for example, there was a Scouts group in a local village, a local group within the village could apply with them on a project. Perfect. Yeah, Nicholas, so that community centres committee could apply once they have the same directive or ethos as a community group, like a Tidy Towns group. If that's their function within your local area, they can apply.
Rosemary's question there. Do you have to use the supplier you get the quote from? No.
You don't have to, once they're coming in at a similar price. Yeah, if you found another group that you'd prefer to go with for the same price, you can go with them. Yeah, you're not tied into anything by putting up a quotation from one person over another.
Like, can I just ask there, and this comes up all the time when it comes to grants over the years, if the word quote, like obviously there's things you can't get quotes for, but even it can be either quote / proof of a cost of something. It could be a screenshot off an online shop, or like you don't directly have to email the supplier to get an email to say how much this is. It could be a screenshot
No, a
of an online.
screenshot. Yeah, exactly.
It's a quote / proof of how much. It's a guide, really, isn't it?
Yeah, what we're really looking for, I suppose, is pricing.
Yeah.
And that you've put a bit of thought into it, and that you can get a product or a service for X amount. So no, it doesn't have to be an email specific to your group with an actual quotation.
And price can change, obviously, anyway, by the time you might get the grant and spend
yeah,
it. So, yeah.
Hopefully it'll be a very quick turnaround, but at the moment prices change regularly. Yeah. Yeah. So if nobody else has any other questions, I think Walter will have put my details in, but I'll pop them here in case anybody's else's connection dropped during the information session. So if anyone comes across anything when they're going through the application form that we haven't covered here today, or that you don't find in the information documents on the website along with the application form, you're more than welcome to contact me. And as I say, the slides, and I'll put the link to the application form again and the information document along with the questions on the application form, and we'll circulate that to anyone here today as well.
And we're recording as well, haven't we? Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
Thanks
very
Ella.
much.
Thanks,
Thanks
Ella.
very much.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
No problem at all.
Best
Thank
luck,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How many were on? 35 in May?